Have you ever wandered through a garage sale on a sunny morning? The smell of old books and freshly cut grass fills the air. You see tables piled high with treasures. There are teacups with tiny flowers and board games with a few pieces missing. It all seems so innocent, doesn't it? A simple exchange of a few coins for a pre-loved item. But what if I told you that lurking amongst the dusty vinyl records and the wobbly-legged chairs, there could be something forbidden? We don't often stop and ask, is it even legal to sell this old thing? The truth is, the world of garage sales has its own set of rules, and they can be quite surprising. An object that has sat in your attic for 50 years might now be against the law to sell. Imagine a little claymation scene. A cheerful fellow, let's call him Arthur, is setting up his table. He places a box of old mugs next to a stack of comics. He carefully positions a rather handsome, if slightly chipped, garden gnome. But then, he pulls out an old baby cot from the garage. Little does he know, that charming cot could be a cracking contravention of modern safety laws. It's the small, everyday items that can catch you out. That old electrical lamp might not meet today's safety standards. So, come along with us, let's pull back the floral curtain on the world of garage sale legality. Let's start our journey with something a bit nutty. Picture Mrs. Higgins, a sweet old lady with a passion for taxidermy in her youth. In her garage, she finds a box with a rather dapper-looking stuffed squirrel named Squeaky. Mrs. Higgins decides it's time for Squeaky to find a new home. She pops a price tag on him, £2, a bargain for a squirrel with such personality. A young lad fascinated by the squirrel is about to buy it, but a local wildlife officer happens to be walking by. He spots Squeaky and explains to a very confused Mrs. Higgins that selling certain types of taxidermy is a big no-no. Many animals, even common ones like gray squirrels in some places, are protected. To sell them, you often need special permits and paperwork. The law doesn't really care that Squeaky was a beloved family pet. Without these rules, it would be too easy for people to sell illegally hunted animals. Mrs. Higgins had no idea. She just thought she was selling a dusty old decoration. The officer kindly explains the situation, and no one gets into serious trouble. Mrs. Higgins decides Squeaky will stay in the attic after all. It's a funny old world where a stuffed squirrel can be more legally complicated than a rusty bicycle. The rules are in place to stop a much bigger problem. It's a classic case of a big solution causing a small, and in this case, rather furry problem. Every garage sale has a corner dedicated to toys. There are colorful plastic blocks, dolls with wild hair, and cars with one wheel missing. But this corner can also be a minefield of hidden dangers and legal tripwires. Let's talk about the humble baby walker. For decades, these were a staple in every home with a toddler. However, times have changed, and so have our ideas about safety. Studies found that these walkers were responsible for a shocking number of accidents. Because of this, many countries have banned the sale of traditional baby walkers. That old walker in your loft is now considered an unsafe product. Let's imagine a young couple, Tom and Brenda, at their first garage sale. They are expecting a baby and are thrilled to find a brightly colored walker. But then, a neighbor, a retired nurse, wanders over. She gently explains the risks and tells them about the ban. Tom and Brenda are shocked. The seller, a friendly chap named Bob, is equally surprised. It's a reminder that what was perfectly acceptable 20 years ago might be forbidden today. The world of children's products is always changing to keep them safer. Now for a tale of invention and good intentions gone slightly awry. Let's meet Wallace, a cheerful, cheese-loving inventor, and his loyal canine companion, Gromit. Wallace has a garage full of his creations. One day, he decides to have a clear-out to make room for his new project. Among the items for sale is an old invention, the Auto Dresser 5000. A neighbor, Mr. Ramsbottom, is intrigued by the contraption. He buys the machine for a tenner. Wallace is pleased to see his invention go to an appreciative home. Gromit, however, looks on with a worried expression. The problem here isn't just that the machine is a bit rubbish, it's about product liability. Selling homemade or heavily modified electronics is a huge risk. They haven't been through the rigorous safety testing that commercial products undergo. The law takes a dim view of selling items that could harm someone. In our claymation world, we see the hilarious aftermath. Mr. Ramsbottom is stuck halfway into the machine, wearing a teapot for a hat. Wallace and Gromit have to rush over to rescue him. It's a cracking conundrum for any home inventor. Here's an item that might surprise you. You're clearing out your granddad's old study and find a dusty, unopened box of cigars. You think, I'll just pop these in the garage sale. But this is where you'd be wandering into a legal gray area. In many parts of the world, the sale of tobacco is very strictly regulated. You actually need a special license to sell it. Selling even a single, unopened packet of cigarettes without a license is illegal. Imagine our claymation seller, Penny, placing the old cigar box on her table. A man with a large mustache, a collector, spots it right away. But a local council officer explains that Penny is in violation of tobacco sales regulations. It's another example of how broad laws designed for big businesses can accidentally catch small-time sellers. Alright, let's delve back into the animal kingdom. But this time, let's talk about fashion. Imagine you're sorting through your grandmother's old wardrobe. You find a beautiful coat with a lovely spotted pattern. You also stumble across a hat with a long, elegant feather. These items are vintage, probably from the 1950s or 60s. But this is another area where good intentions can meet some pretty strict laws. That beautiful spotted coat? It might be made from the fur of a protected species, and that elegant feather? It might have come from an endangered bird. Laws make it illegal to trade in products made from these animals. The fact that the coat was made long before the law existed doesn't always make it legal to sell. A fashion-conscious student tries it on, but a volunteer from a local animal sanctuary recognizes the pattern. The seller, Margaret, had no idea. The rules here can be incredibly complex. If you have an old fur coat or anything made from an exotic animal, it's best to get it checked by an expert. Now let's talk about things that are a bit more personal. You're clearing out the bathroom cabinet and find items you no longer need. There's an old electric razor and a fancy face cream. It seems wasteful to just throw them away, right? However, this is another area where hygiene and safety rules come into play. Selling used personal care items can be illegal. An old electric razor could carry bacteria or skin infections. Even sealed items can be a problem if expired. Selling expired cosmetics or medical products is a big no-no. The bathroom cabinet is one place you really shouldn't be sourcing your garage sale stock from. It's a close shave with the law you don't want to have. In our modern world, not all forbidden items are old and dusty. Some are as new as yesterday's technology. So let's consider the world of digital media. Maybe you have a shelf full of DVDs and CDs you no longer watch or listen to. But what if, among them, there's a disc that you copied for a friend years ago? This is where we run into the mighty wall of copyright law. Selling pirated or copied media is illegal. The law is designed to protect the creators of music, films, and software. Let's set the scene. A teenager finds a copy of a popular game for a bargain price. The seller, Dave, explains he backed up his original copy and is selling the spare. But this is a classic example of software piracy. This problem extends beyond just discs. If a device has been altered to access content illegally, then selling it is against the law. It's always best to stick to selling the genuine article. So, after our tour of the weird and wonderful world of garage sale legality, what have we learned? It's a place where good intentions can easily bump up against surprising rules. From stuffed squirrels to dangerous toys, the potential pitfalls are everywhere. The main lesson is not to be scared, but to be smart. A little bit of common sense goes a long, long way. The key takeaway is to think about safety and legality before you put that price sticker on. If it's something a baby will use, check if it meets modern safety standards. If it's something you plug into the wall, make sure it's not a fire hazard. If it came from an animal, be very careful. And if it's something you put on your body or in your body, it's probably best not to sell it at all. These simple checks can save you from a lot of potential trouble. What about food? Many people sell homemade cakes, jams, or lemonade at their garage sales. But in many places, there are food handling and labeling laws. It's a classic case of the law being a bit of a killjoy, but it's all done with public safety in mind. A garage sale should be a joy, a fun way to recycle old things and meet your neighbors.